This part begins. And we see that Lucy is still sitting, and she is saying, "That just about killed me." And Ed Roth Taylor is removing dust from his clothes. And he is saying, "Just about killed you." And Ed Roth Taylor is thinking, she's the world's most powerful mage. Who could have? And Lucy tremblingly says, "Spell Maya," and Ed Roth Taylor gets surprised after hearing this and he says, "But she's a good person? I just ditched class as I usually do, but she was kinda moody for some reason, so she came with her fist clenched tighter than usual." And Lucy is telling, "It was all so sudden that I just teleported out of there. I thought it would hurt." And we see that Ed Roth Taylor is getting very angry. Then Elka tells Ed Roth Taylor, "You have jerky?" And Ed Roth Taylor gets angry. And he hits Elka with a small wooden stick. And he says, "Damn it! You ruined everything! What the hell is the life you live?" And Lucy is holding her head. But Ed Roth Taylor gets very surprised, and he is thinking, she's not using any protective spells. Then Lucy says, "I ran out of all magic." And Lucy is looking at Ed Roth Taylor, and Ed Roth Taylor says to Lucy, "No, did you?" Then this. And Ed Roth Taylor has made an evil face. And he stretches out his hand and he says, "Is for the house that you just destroyed." Then the sound of Lucy screaming is coming from the forest. And Ed Roth Taylor is saying to Lucy, "And this is for the oh so motherly Miss Bell Maya." After this, Ed Roth Taylor is saying, "I need a sturdier house. Let's build a house out of real wood. With my life as busy as it is, it's a huge plus for me to gain all the knowledge I want during my visits to the library, materials for planning and other necessities. All that's left is the method of smoothing the wood and finishing the roof, I guess?" Then someone says to Ed Roth Taylor, "It's closing time. You're studying really hard." And Ed Roth Taylor says, "Has it already been that long? I'm sorry about that." And the girl says, "My name is Elka Island." And Ed Roth Taylor is thinking, it's as if she's using her eyes to please me to tell her my name. And Ed Roth Taylor tells her his name, Ed. And as soon as she hears the name Elka Ed Roth Taylor, her facial reaction changes, and tears start coming from his eyes. And Ed Roth Taylor is thinking, familiar reaction. As always, this guy's notoriety just doesn't go away. No surprise there. I've only been living diligently, but there's no way that changes anything. Then Elka says, "You're extremely different from what the rumors say, you know? You've even read all the books on elemental studies. They're hard for me to understand in just a few days. Even right now, you've read through over 6 technical texts while sitting here. They say you act all arrogant when they don't even know anything. I guess rumors are not to be trusted after all. I know someone who is just as sincere as you, senior. I'll be cheering for you." And hearing Elka's words, a smile appears on Ed Roth Taylor's face. Then he thanks Elka. And the girl says to Ed Roth Taylor, "Have a safe trip back. I'm going to clean up and head back to my dorm." And then Ed Roth Taylor feels the pressure. And he is wondering, what is this thing? And we see that Elka is also feeling that pressure. And she too is very surprised. And many books are about to fall on him. Then we see that a magic circle has formed over the entire school. And from that magic circle an energy is spreading over the school. Then we see temporary camp in front of the student center. Thanks to the main character, Taylor, and his friends' efforts, many students gathered at the camp. It had been 2 hours since the unprecedented disaster. And a girl is saying, "I saw it in a book on spirit magic. That's a summoning rune to summon the highest ranked spirit of darkness, Glaskin." And the princess is saying, "That's bad news, because there's only one person with a high enough spirit connection level to summon that many spirits. It's highly likely our enemy is the one who went berserk due to the spirit of darkness, the year 2 top student." And everyone is surprised to hear the princess's words. And then someone says, "It's unfortunate, but this is not the time for this. If Ayla's right, then the barrier around the students will merely buy some time. If Glaskin is summoned, there will be more casualties. We need to head inside the student center." Captain of the Royal Guard, Claire says, "People outside the barrier will notice in no time. If the Imperial Guard and the professors deal with it, it'll soon Faculty of Alchemy Year 1, Elvira Aniston says if it's the spirit of darkness, its barrier must be tough. We must solve this from the inside. Principal Abel is out of town as well. If everyone here joins hands, I bet we could even take down a high-rank spirit, don't you think? Then we see another boy who is very scared and he says I'm against it. We'll get through those intermediate-level spirits and subdue the spirit boss as well. You're going to enter the building and take down Janica? But that's not all. There's high-rank spirits inside. 2 of them, at that. High-rank Berserk Fire Spirit, Tarkan, and high-rank Spirit of Darkness, Velocipher. That's suicide. I'm not going. And Lortel says, but did she really do this all on her own? I mean, even for a Year 2 top student, isn't she way too powerful? She's summoning Glaskin while manifesting all these spirits at the same time? And a girl says, most of it is likely Velocipher's power. Senior Janica is merely a medium to manifest it. Spirits of darkness, natural enemies of a spirit sorcerer. Their enormous power is simply beyond a spirit sorcerer's control. The demons take that in fact control of the spirit sorcerers, are the reason all spirit sorcerers feel this way, because they become their prey. How Senior Janica, the most remarkable student in spirit studies, managed to command Velocipher isn't known to anyone. Then a boy says, that's not what's important right now. What's important right now is to decide our course of action. And there is only one person who can decide that. Princess Phinia. Please tell us. But Phinia is unable to say anything. And there is silence in this place, the moment when everyone waits for her decision. Suddenly, the guy's nonchalant remark flashes through her mind. Whatever I carry the burden, it can't be any heavier than what you carry, Princess, can it? Why not have some peace of mind? How great would it be if only it were that easy? Then Phinia says, we'll enter after an hour. But only me, my guard Claire, as well as top students of each year and class will go. Only those who have proven their ability will go. So make yours preparation and toughen your mind. I'll take the responsibility. Then a boy says, Princess, we're done assessing the resident employees of the teaching area. The Audrey Hall and Potion Archives are in the middle of a strike. It's unlikely they'll join us. And Phinia says, so we're the only ones who can take any proper action. And the boy says, there's no other students aside from that. But then someone says there is one. I'm on my way from the library. In the student library, there's a friend of mine, an apprentice librarian, and a sophomore student in there. And seeing that girl, Phinia says to her, apprentice? What's their name? And the girl says, Elka Island. And on hearing this, Jix becomes very angry. And he says to that girl, Elka? Did you just say Elka? And the girl says, we're in the apprentice librarian class together, learning how to manage grimoires. But Jix says, damn it. I have to rescue her right now. Elka is powerless to defend herself. But all Phinia and Lortel stop Jix. And Lortel says, calm down, Jix. The student library is really far away. Right now, subduing the cause of this problem, Senior Janica, comes first. And Phinia says, that's right, Jix. She also said there's a sophomore student in the student library, didn't she? How about we believe in that student for now? You definitely said there's another student there, right? But the girl is very scared and is unable to say anything. Then Jix catches the girl and says to her, what are you hiding? Tell me right now. And the girl fearfully tells Ed Rothtailor's name, and Jix gets very angry after hearing Ed Rothtailor's name. And his eyes start turning red. And the girl cries and says, I'm sorry. He was sitting there all the way till really late in the night. I was annoyed, so I left it to Elka. All of you know what kind of guy he is, don't you? And after listening to the girl's words, all of them start imagining Ed Rothtailor. And the girl further explains Elka doesn't care about rumors like that, so. And a boy is saying, that shameless guy and the apprentice are stuck in the library all alone. Then we see Jix, who is getting very angry. And Phinia is trying to calm him down. Then she appears in front of him, asking him to stop. Then we see that energy is still coming out from that magic circle. Then Phinia says, how about you? Have some faith in him. And on hearing this they all become very shocked. And Lortel is also not saying anything. But Jix gets very angry and moves forward very fast. And we also see the spirits. And Jix is thinking, if he touches so much as a hair of Elka's, and Jix is moving forward, eliminating those spirits. And he's thinking, I'm going beat you to a pulp. Then Jix starts remembering about his past. The term rags to riches isn't nearly enough to describe how miraculous the existence of Jix, the spear of grass, is. Judging from its size, it's an adult male. Considering the state of the surrounding tree barks, it seems like it was just here. Got him. The grasslands in the north of the empire. A land of savagery, where not even the voice of an empire can reach. A world where, at the end of the day, you have to check your own neck to make sure it's still attached. Jix was a descendant of the nomadic people who roamed around that land. By the time he came of age, he'd already been separated from his family. He had no idea about when he was abandoned, why he was abandoned, or if he would ever be able to return to his herd. He learned how to behead a deer before learning how to read. Before learning how to buy goods, he mastered how to procure supplies from corpses on the roadside. Needless to say, that's the guy from the northern grasslands, right? He's a descendant of those barbarians? Rumor has it that they even eat human flesh. The life of a beast. And at that time someone had asked Jix his name. And that was Elka. And Jix had told Elka his name. And Elka was talking to him smilingly. And she was saying, "You're like a wolf walking on two legs." That's when he realized. A life spent endlessly roaming the vast northern prairies. Scavenging for carcasses on the side of the road, sleeping with the moon as his roof, this boy was a wolf pup who was abandoned by his pack. The whole time, I lived such a lonely life. The day he met his first companion in life, Jix suddenly understood the feeling of loneliness. Elka and her father welcomed me into their family. Chasing after the fast-paced life of civilization, the savage life became a distant memory at some point, and the wolf pup became a man. But if it was for the sake of protecting her, I would gladly become a beast again. I've heard rumors about that Rothtailor guy, so I know. He cheated on the test, insulted the princess, and harassed one of his juniors. And Jix is running towards Elka. And as soon as he looks ahead, there is Ed Rothtailor in front of him. And Ed Rothtailor is asking Jix, who is he? So Jix grabs Ed Rothtailor's collar. And says to her, Elka. Where's Elka? Why are you here right now? First, tell me where Elka is. And Ed Rothtailor tells him. But Jix throws the milk at Ed Rothtailor. And he is going running. And he opens the door and he says, Elka, are you okay? And he sees in front that Elka is lying on a table. And seeing her safe and sound, Jix takes a sigh of relief. He was very nervous. Then he is thinking, come to think of it, these are all bookcases that'd be hard for a fully grown man to lift. Yet they're placed around Elka as if they're trying to protect her. Blackout curtains to block the berserk spirit's vision. Blackout curtains to block the berserk spirit's vision. Then when Jix looks at the board, a message is written on it. When you wake up, don't panic and stay here. Everything will probably be solved before dawn, so stay calm, block the entrance, and don't provoke the spirits. Think of your safety at all costs, don't act rashly. And after reading that message, Jix is thinking, someone protected Elka. Blood, this isn't Elka's. This, despite being wounded himself, didn't even care for his body, and went so far as to protect Elka. This belongs to Ed Rothtailor. But why? On earth? Then Ed Rothtailor is saying, seriously. I was so close. 3 hours ago. And many books were falling on Elka, and the box was also about to fall. But Ed Rothtailor had saved Elka. And he was thinking, thankfully I do little bit of strength training on a regular basis. And the episode's progressing faster than I expected, judging by the summoning rune. It's the start of the Glasskin showdown. I'm sure Taylor will take care of it. I shouldn't even be looking at a place like that which is full of the storyline's key characters. Because I can't let the future change. Even so, time is gold and I can't afford to sit idly. In a little while, the berserk low-rank spirits will come swarming. I should block the entrance so the berserk spirits don't come in, and use this chance, even the slightest bit, to perfect my shelter. Now I'm going to eat the beef jerky I brought and do research all night. Wait a minute. What makes Janica Powers so special is her strong command of spirit understanding and spirit connection. These two stats grow through contact with spirits. Since meeting spirits itself is a domain of her talent. For me, who can't even see spirits, raising my spirit stats is close to impossible. But Janica is shooting materialized spirits? This sweet-ass event. Thanks for the meal. The speed was insane. Fire Magic Ignition level 12. Spirit Magic Spirit Connection level 7. Spirit Magic Spirit Understanding level 7. Ignition level 12. Even my spirit magic has already risen to level 7. I was so close, just one more level. Had I reached a sum of 15 levels for spirit connection and spirit understanding, a spirit contract would be possible too, right? Well, I pushed myself to the limit, so any more, and it would have been really dangerous. Then Jix is leaving carrying Elka on his shoulder, and he says to Ed Roth-Taylor, "What were you doing here?" And hearing this, Ed Roth-Taylor is thinking, what was I doing here? I guess he couldn't turn a blind eye to me after seeing me rest here with all my bruises? Well, I don't really need to lie for an answer. Then Ed Roth-Taylor tells Jix that I was training here. And hearing this, Jix are thinking, haha, geez. Training? Only the most naive of humans would believe that. Then Jix further says, I see. I feel like I finally understand the kind of human you are. So that's the kind of person you've always been. I truly owe you a big one. Senior edition. When the time comes, I'll repay this debt to you at any cost. Then Ed Roth-Taylor is thinking, Elka's definitely Jix's lover. She was barely important enough to make an appearance in the setting. So I completely forgot about it. But this guy is Taylor's friend who trusted him from the beginning to the end of the storyline. This guy's extremely important. So, looking at this situation, you left the student center and came running here, didn't you? If you've already confirmed Elka's safety, go and do what you're supposed to do. Get back to the student center. You don't belong here. Go and help Taylor. If you do what he says, things will work out. And Jix says, Taylor? Do you mean Taylor Mclore? Then Ed Roth-Taylor says, that's Rick, that guy who's always barely avoiding failures. And Jix says, I don't know why you think so highly of Taylor. You have never even talked to him. Rather than regarding him highly, it's an issue of compatibility. Especially since the shell of the high-rank fire spirit, Taran, can only be harmed by that guy's element / In Act 1, Scene 9, Taylor learns one of his key moves. Element / To win this episode, that skill is necessary. If I make Taylor use that skill, he can win. Thank you for them advice. And Ed Roth-Taylor says, you don't have time for this, so move quickly. I'll be resting here for a bit. Then Jix starts leaving with Elka. And Ed Roth-Taylor is sitting at that place and he is thinking, I've even given him a huge piece of advice, so it should unfold as per the original story, right? Wait a minute? And Ed Roth-Taylor remembers what Jix told him, Taylor? Do you mean Taylor Mclore? You have never even talked to him. And Ed Roth-Taylor is thinking, why is Jix not friends with Taylor yet? Act 1, Scene 9. End of semester assessment. In a duel, Taylor suffers one-sidedly but learns element / He then cuts through Jix's magic. Jix verifies his tenacity and acknowledgements Taylor. In the end, the two become friends. However, the final chapter of the first act happened a month earlier than during the original story. Episode 1. The final chapter. Glaskin Showdown. And Act 1 Scene 9 didn't even get a chance to happen, so Jix ended up not being his friend. Taylor couldn't learn element / and right now, no one in the raid team can deal any damage to Taran. I just didn't seem to realize it, but the whole plot is already falling apart. Then the scene shifts and we see Student Center raid team's base. And Jix has brought Elka to the Student Center. And he is apologizing to his comrades, and saying, I apologize for the delay. I'll make sure to pay for my wrongdoing. And Phineas says, forget it. Even with you here, we would have lost regardless. Raid team first invasion attempt, failed. Then Claire is saying, if we want to reinvade, it'll be better to get more reinforcement. I'll join you as soon as the pain in my leg subsides. And Phineas is saying, it's okay, Claire. You should rest at the base. You can't even walk properly. Princess Phineas, if you really care about me, please rescind your order. Claire, I have a heart too, you know. And Phineas is thinking, fortunately, our retreat was successful, but Claire's out of the squad. And Clebius, the top student of the first-year combat faculty, also got injured. Is there a way out? Oh, let's do our best to eliminate Tarkan with the people we have and then someone says, we don't have the time to be able to go get Tarkan. And when they see people in front, they get surprised. Because Ed Roth Taylor has come in front of them. And he is saying, judging from the summoning ritual's progress, that thing will be complete in no time. This is the last thing I wanted to do, but I have no choice. Let's split the raid team in two. I'll take charge of one side. From now on, I'll intervene in the storyline. Then Ed Roth Taylor is saying to them, let's split the raid party into two. And Clebius is saying in fear, hey you. Do you think this is a joke? And Jix says, hear him out first, Clebius. Then Ed Roth Taylor tells, we must get through the fire spirit that Janica summoned, Tarkan, and deal with the spirit of darkness, Philosopher, who has overpowered Janica. However, as you must have already seen during your fight against Tarkan, we can't deal any damage to it because of its shell. We don't necessarily need to go against Tarkan. Once one team has gotten Tarkan's attention, the other can enter the combat training grounds to subdue the suppressed Janica. Once you skip Tarkan, you can directly confront Janica. Hearing Ed Roth Taylor's words, Lortel says, no way. This one's nothing like the Tarkan in combat practice. We only managed to retreat out of pure luck. What if the luring group fails and Tarkan starts chasing the subduing group? Or what if things go wrong, the luring group gets wiped out? In the end, you'll end up dealing with both at once. It's too big a risk. And Ed Roth Taylor tells him, you can only weigh the risks when you have other options, Lortel. The most important objective in the end is to take down Janica. That way, Tarkan will be powerless too. Then Jix says the problem is, who's going to be in the luring group? And Lortel says, isn't that just picking out people who want to commit suicide? And Taylor raises his hand and he says, I'll do it. But Ed Roth Taylor tells him, no. Don't act up and get back there. You're definitely going to be in the group that enters the combat training grounds. But Taylor is saying, I'm quick. I don't know how long I can run for, but if someone has to do it, it should be me. And Ed Roth Taylor is speaking to him, it seems you're mistaken. We're not picking out sacrificial lambs. We don't have to split exactly in half either. Clebius and Lortel are enough. With me included, we three will lure Tarkan. And hearing this, Clebius gets nervous and says, why me? I don't want to die. And Lortel says, I must respectfully decline. And Ed Roth Taylor is saying, believe me, there's a way. The way to bind Tarkan's feet is to. And Clebius is very scared and he is saying, fight Tarkan with Ed Roth Taylor? I'd rather die. And Lortel says, but how? And Ed Roth Taylor is thinking, TCH, we don't have much time. Then Phineas says, I don't see anything wrong with what you're saying. I still don't understand your intentions, but... Sigh, this is my order as Phineas Elias Clole, the third princess of the Clole Empire. We'll divide the raid party into two groups. Taylor, Jix, Elvira Halila, and I will be part of the group that subdues Janica. Clebius, Lortel, and Ed Roth Taylor will be part of the group that lures Janica. Lastly, I'm going to make this really short because we're running out of time. Just in case, do not die. At any cost. Then they all leave to battle. After this the scene shifts and we see Nail Hall Corridor. And Lortel is saying, how are you going to stall for time with that fire lizard as yours opponent? And Ed Roth Taylor says, just do what I tell you to. If things go according to plan, we'll definitely win. And Ed Taylor says to Clebius, "Don't worry, Clebius." Clebius the gloomy. He's very fearful and lacks confidence, in contrast to his skills. But he's the top student among the freshmen of the combat faculty. Because you'll be able to do it. And Clebius is thinking, this brat's full of confidence. Does he have a way after all? Behind that door of the combat training grounds. Janica Failover, we just have to lure Tarkan, right? I was convinced by the princess' firm attitude and came all the way here, but since I'm not alone, I might even be able to muster some courage. But as soon as he goes ahead, he becomes very nervous. And he tells Ed Taylor and Lord Tell, it's coming. It's the start of the battle now, how I do lure him. And when he looks back, he knows that both of them have disappeared. And seeing this he doesn't know how to say anything. And there is a Tarkan behind him, due to which Clebius is very nervous. And he shouts, "You tricked me! Why on earth are you doing this to me? Oh crazy bastards! Come on out! I hate you! I hate this world!" Then we see Lortel. And she is remembering what Ed Taylor told her, "Get out of here. Now that we've driven Clebius into the Nail Hall's corridor, it's done. He might even be able to do it." And Lortel says, "So in the end, you're going to sacrifice Clebius? It's not a bad idea, but you won't be able to evade moral criticism." And Ed Taylor says, "First of all, it's not sacrifice. That guy, despite how he looks, is a top student. And he's very resilient. Also, the most important role will be yours, Lortel. Then outside Nail Hall. Outside the combat training grounds. Because you're in charge of securing the entry path for the subduing group and landing a critical hit on Tarkan. Well, I don't think you should jump to conclusions about him just after listening to rumors." And Ed Taylor says, "I'm sure everyone will hesitate and doubt themselves, but you're good at this stuff. Just blow it, UP." And Lortel has a dangerous ice attack, due to which a huge explosion occurs at that place. And seeing that explosion, everyone becomes very surprised. And people say, "What are you doing?" And Lortel says, "Gotta go in." At the same time she is thinking, come to think of it, during the joint combat training, I blew up Nail Hall's ceiling with forbidden intermediate rank magic. So that's why he left this to me, huh? You're an amusing guy, Ed Taylor. Anyway, the entry path is all set. Now what's left is... Then we see Clebius, who is running away from the Tarkan, shouting, "Lortel! Ed! Know that I will kill you! I'm not going to let this slide." And Lortel is saying, even if the plan is successful and the raid party makes it inside without encountering Tarkan, Clebius and I will still have to deal with Tarkan since it'll run around. Going against Tarkan in the student plaza means there's no escape. You want him to die. He can't run away. The only way is to apprehend it. Because of his shell, no attacks would work anyway. Didn't you see during practice? I already lost to him once. Not to mention, not a single raid party member could even lay a scratch on him. We can use this to deal with his shell. Just get ready by gathering mana. What's that? Lortel was right. Without Elemental Slash, there's no one in the raid party who can break through Tarkan's shell. And Lortel attacks the Tarkan. And Ed Taylor comes running forward, and he is saying, what we need is overwhelming firepower. And we see that Lucy is sleeping in front of Ed Taylor. And Ed Taylor is saying, there are very few people who attempt to clear all of the additional achievement conditions, but I've done this countless times. Then Ed Taylor lifts Lucy on his shoulders. And he's wondering, how the hell is she napping in the middle of all this? Also, how is this a damn nap? Lucy had nowhere to sleep because the shelter had been destroyed. So she went to them rooftop, where she usually naps. To be exact, she was sleeping until now because she had to be excluded from the storyline. Janica wasn't in good shape. Maya was irritated because of that. So Lucy runs away, uses up all her magic, and falls asleep. Though, it was probably a tool in the game to exclude this overpowered person from the scenario. And then Lucy's eyes open. She smells something, and she's like, beef jerky. I smell beef jerky. And Ed Roth-Taylor has taken out beef jerky. Then Ed Roth-Taylor puts beef jerky in Lucy's mouth. And Ed Roth-Taylor is ready to throw Lucy away. And he is saying, right now, she doesn't have the privilege of being picky right now. The target's the flaming fire lizard. Will I get the distance right? There's no need to worry. I did this a lot in the military. And Ed Roth-Taylor throws Lucy towards the Tarkan. And he is saying to everyone, get down. And the Tarkan is about to attack, and Lucy is moving forward very fast. And tears are falling from his eyes, and Ed Roth-Taylor is watching all these things from a distance. And then a thunderbolt falls from the sky, which hits Lucy. And there is a very bright light at that place, seeing which Ed Roth-Taylor gets surprised. And Lortel would have created a barrier. And because of that power, Ed Roth-Taylor starts facing problems. But he is saying, in some ways, this is the most important moment of all. Tarkan is a high-rank fire spirit with a tough shell, disallowing us to apprehend him even if we were all to rush towards him together. But after getting hit by Lucy's high-rank magic, even that tough shell is shattering. Now, even our attacks can deal damage to him. Naturally, there'll be a lot of EXP left behind when he's eliminated. Now that I've come all the way here, I'll take what I can as well. But the last hit is mine. Next, we are shown Janika's memory. And her mother is telling Janika, I'm so proud of you, my lovely daughter, Janika. And many people are saying to Janika, I'm so proud to be your friend, Janika. You're the hope of the sophomores. Only you showcase proper skills during this joint combat exercise. Of course, I can trust Janika to take care of it. Without you, my second year would have truly been the worst. We're fortunate to have at least you here, Janika. And in the present time Janika is thinking, everyone's here, huh? Right, I should greet them with a smile as always. And Janika says welcome to all of them. And we see that a monster has changed Janik. And that monster stands above the magic circle. And Ed Roth-Taylor is thinking, the nail hall. Did they start on Janika's side? I'm sure the scenario will end by the break of dawn. Fortunately, I'm not too late either. Then Ed Roth-Taylor asks Lortel, where's Lucy? And Lortel tells, she's somewhere nearby, rolling around in a corner. And Ed Roth-Taylor says, it would have been great if she'd finished things off till the end. And Lortel says, I'm not sure if she has the energy left to do that. Whatever, let's put an end to this ourselves. We were planning to do that as well, but I used all of my magic to propel 2 chasing ice spears at him, but he's still holding out. That's one resilient son of a gun, and Ed Roth-Taylor says, we've gotta slash his throat. Your ice magic isn't a great fit for precise cuts, so I'll do it. And Lortel is saying, Senior, you're also from the FAC Altai of Magic. It might be better for Clebius, who carries a blade, to do it. But will he be able to do it? And Ed Roth-Taylor says, no, I'll take responsibility and end this, so stop that monster from moving just this once. I'm betting on you with my life on the line, so do it properly, yeah? And after listening to Ed Roth-Taylor, Lortel says things like, I'll take responsibility so you do it. And, I'm betting on you with my life on the line. It's really easy for you to say stuff like that. In reality, it's just a blind gamble. And Ed Roth-Taylor says it's not a gamble. I mean, the price of one's life isn't cheap at all. This is an investment. And hearing this, Lortel starts smiling and she says, investment, you say, that's my area of expertise. I like you more than that princess who's acting like a monarch all because she's of the royal bloodline. You put your life on the line for me, so I'll put mine on the line for you too. Here I go. Then Ed Roth-Taylor moves forward towards the Tarkan, and Clebius is very tired now, and he is saying, whatever. I can't do this anymore. And Ed Roth-Taylor is saying, this guy and I are both at the end of our ropes. Despite that, understand Clebius, who's completely friend. And Ed Roth-Taylor goes closer to the Tarkan to attack, and he is saying, not yet. I have to get even closer. But then there is a huge noise. And a huge hand starts coming out from the sky, seeing which everyone gets surprised. And Ed Roth-Taylor is thinking that's Glaskin's right-hand man. That means Taylor's party must have entered the last phase, right? That means things are going well as expected, but the timing isn't good. Such a scene would catch anyone's eye. But even in the midst of such a major upheaval, Lortel doesn't make any mistakes. The same goes for me as well, because I've cast this spell hundreds and thousands of times. Wind Blade. And Ed Rothtailor cuts off the Tarkan's head, due to which the Tarkan is killed. And Ed Rothtailor starts getting notifications from the system, and the system tells, you have taken down the high-rank fire spirit, Tarkan. Spirit magic, your spirit connection proficiency has increased. Spirit magic, your spirit understanding proficiency has increased. Spirit magic, your spirit connection proficiency has increased. Spirit magic, your spirit understanding proficiency has increased. Spirit magic, your spirit connection proficiency has increased. Spirit contract slot has been unlocked. You can now make a contract with a spirit. Then Ed Rothtailor starts looking towards the sky, and he is saying, ah. That Taylor. We see Taylor moving towards that huge hand. And Taylor attacks that hand. And because of his attack, that big hand gets cut into many pieces. And there is a huge explosion. And Taylor is falling downwards, and Taylor's voice now turns white. And Ed Rothtailor is saying, he indeed is the protagonist. So, it's over. After this, it is morning. And they are all sitting under a tree. And Lortel is saying, I've met a lot of people in my life saying that they're seriously risking their lives. But most of them were cowards. And Ed Rothtailor says, what's so? And Lortel says, what's with that, senior? We got through a life and death crisis together. You're lacking a bit too much of sentiment. Let me introduce myself formally once again. I'm Lortel Kecklin. And Ed Rothtailor shakes hands with Lortel. But he realizes something, and when he looks at his hands, he has 3 gold coins in his hands. And Lortel is saying, I won this time. Caught you off guard, didn't I? Now you owe me a favor. What to do now? See you again, senior. And Ed Rothtailor is thinking, is she going to keep in touch? But I don't really want to get involved with her. And then Taylor comes to that place, and he bows down in front of Ed Rothtailor. And tell him, I'm resenting you right now. I believe you know the reason for that very well. And looking at Taylor, Ed Rothtailor is thinking, Taylor's appearance. So his swordsman form manifested itself. It was exactly the same in the game. It looks cool. And Taylor says, despite all that is a debt still a debt. So. Thank you. But we see that Clebius is saying to Taylor, Taylor. You don't need to show respect to someone like him. There's no telling when he'll backstab anyone. I almost died because of him. But we see that Phinia, Lortel and Jix speak in support of Ed Rothtailor. And Jix says, quiet down, Clebius. And Lortel says, you sure have a lot to say, Clebius. And Phinia says, Clebius, shut up. Ed Rothtailor. You did a lot for us this time. I can recommend you to the student council and... But Ed Rothtailor says, no need. Lucy was the biggest contributor in taking down Tarkan. Taylor also slayed Velocifer and Glaskin, so please focus on that. Then a girl says, oh my, you're tossing the credit away. It's no secret that Lucy and Taylor did a great job. We're talking about things besides that. Or are you embarrassed? But Jix come in front of that girl, and he says to her, he's a senior. Show respect, Alvira. But that girl says, why do you keep siding with him? And Jix says, show him respect. And Ed Rothtailor is listening to all of them. And he has a lovely smile on his face. And he's thinking, I've been keeping my distance from the main characters to not affect the original storyline. However, now that I get to look at all of them at once, I can't help but feel warm and fuzzy. After all, I've watched them play their part in this world. And solve their own problems time and time again. Taylor, who grows stronger with each trial, and Isla, who grew stronger with Taylor. Phinia, who embraces her destiny as a monarch, and slowly becomes an adult. Jix, who finds his own path in the midst of civilization. Clebius, who goes on to become sure about himself, and Elvira, who realizes that life isn't all about fun and excitement. L'Oreal, who spends her life buried in gold coins, cross-examines her life. All of them were main characters who had their own role to play. And at the end was the trophy named Success. It's because I knew that I turned away. Then he starts going inside that broken school, and as he goes further, there is a box in front of him. And Ed Taylor goes ahead and opens that box, and he is saying because no matter how I thought about something felt off. I had to come here. To shine light on the success of the protagonist, someone had to stay backstage. And Jenica is smiling from inside that box.